What's up everybody, it's Matt from Peter Glenn, and in this video we're going to talk to you about the different goggle lens tints, what they do, and why it's super important to have a couple on hand. Okay, a lot of people look at goggles and they think, oh, goggles are for the snow and they are for keeping the snow out of your eyes. True, but they're actually there to do a lot more. They are there to protect your eyes from the sun. They're also there to protect your eyes from the wind, and they're there to protect your eyes from the cold. But most importantly, they're there to help you see shadows that you might not usually see. So when it comes to snow, it's obviously mostly white. And when we are riding in the daytime, and especially when we're riding in those flat conditions where the sun isn't out, it's behind the clouds, it's very, very hard to pick up the shadows, and there's little bumps and crevices and little things that you might not see that could throw you for a loop when you're riding. And the goggle companies are basically doing things with their lenses and with their tints in their lenses to help you see those shadows, so it's a lot safer for you to actually be riding. So nowadays when you're buying a pair of goggles, it's not uncommon for the goggle to actually come with two different lenses. You'll basically have a lens for when it's sunny outside, and then it'll also come with a second lens for when there is low light to even nighttime conditions. Whether that one is a rose, yellow, even just a clear lens, but they basically have those two different lenses. But there's a lot of different tints out there for a lot of different light conditions. Now, one thing to note, and if your goggles do not have a second lens or they didn't come with a second lens, most companies do sell spare lenses, but you do need to match up not only the specific company that you're buying, but you also need to match up the specific frame. This Anon M5 lens will not fit in this Anon M4 goggle. It will only fit in the M5. Likewise with the M4, with any of the goggles out there, you actually have to have not only brand, but the style of the frame very, very specific, and the size too. Sometimes frames come in small and in large, and those are obviously going to be two different size lenses too. But you can get those spare lenses, and most of the time it's good to have at least two lenses. So when you are looking at lenses and you're looking at the different tints, the thing that's good to know is the VLT, the visible light transmission. That's basically a measurement of how much light is actually coming through the lens. When you've got a higher VLT, that means that more light is coming through the lens, and when you have a lower VLT, that means that less light is coming through the lens. Another thing that makes a big difference too is the actual color of the lens. When you're looking at gray lenses versus bronze lenses versus red lenses versus yellow, they all do different things in different light conditions, and they all do work. It's just a matter of which ones you like, and you really just gotta have to try them out over time if you really want to nail down one that's super perfect for you and for your preferences. But at the end of the day, as long as you have a dark lens and you have a little bit lighter lens, you're going to be good no matter what. Another thing that's good to note too is that the mirror coatings on the goggles can make a big difference too. They're not going to make as huge of a difference as the actual color of the lens when it comes to the VLT, but they are going to darken it up just a little bit, but most importantly, they're going to reflect light, so you're going to actually get less glare coming through your goggles. Another thing that we get a lot of questions about too are polarized lenses, and they do exist. Every company usually has their most popular goggle, or maybe their top 3 or 5 goggles, and they'll do just a standard black frame and it'll come with a polarized lens, but they don't do a lot of them. And the reason for this is that when reflected light is coming at you, usually it's white light. And when you're out on a canvas of white snow and what's coming at you is white light, a lot of times that polarization really isn't gonna help. But if you are somebody who does have very sensitive eyes, or it's just recommended by your optometrist, they're definitely a good thing to have. But a lot of people think, oh, I've got polarized glasses, I need to have polarized goggles. And it's not as important at all when it comes to goggles. So again, when you are looking at those different lenses and you are picking out the different lenses, those VLT numbers that are good to know is that if you get in those, 90 range, those are gonna be kind of like your yellow, your clear, those are gonna be letting through the most light. When you get kind of down to the teens, that's gonna be some of your darkest lenses. They're gonna be letting through the least amount of light, and you're gonna use those on those super sunny bluebird days. And then if you want something that's kind of in the middle, those are gonna be kind of in your 30 to 40 range. At the end of the day, again, it is a lot of personal preference, and it is something that you really just gotta kind of figure out. If you wanna have one pair of goggles and you wanna have 6, 7, 8 different lenses, that's up to you. It's something that you do have to try out. It can get a little expensive, but it's not a bad thing. Most people, again, as long as you've got a dark lens and you've got a low light lens, that's gonna be the most important thing to have. So you can have one pair of goggles that you can swap your lenses out and it's gonna work for a variety of conditions. But if you got any questions about what we talked about in the video, definitely leave some comments down below. We're on there every single day trying to answer your questions. We wanna make sure we can get you some rad gear, but most importantly, we wanna make sure that it's actually gonna fit you, it's gonna fit your riding style, it's gonna fit your preferences so you can see where you're going when you're out riding. Also make sure to like, subscribe, definitely get that notification bell on too so you can find out when all the new videos drop, and grab yourself a new set of goggles, and if you need to grab yourself some extra lenses, do that too, and get out and ride, because any day of riding is a good day of riding.